Great. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It is National Apprenticeship Week, and we are excited to be spreading the news about the benefits of apprenticeship, answering your questions, and just trying to let you know if this might be a good fit for your business. Overall, we're going to have everyone mute themselves, please, and we're going to accept the questions in the chat, and we will address the questions towards the end. But we're very excited for you to ask questions, so please feel free to do that. My name is Doreen Lund, and I am with CareerSource Northeast Florida. And what CareerSource does is we are your local workforce board, and we help to connect employers with job seekers, and we help promote training in our community and upskilling our community members. My role is the apprenticeship navigator, which means that I try to spread the word about apprenticeship to both job seekers and employers, and I help to develop new programs. The state of Florida is very excited about the apprenticeship model, so we're trying to grow that in our state. And I also try to help job seekers find programs that are either earn as you learn or work-based learning or apprenticeship type that might fit an interest that they have. So I'm happy to and grateful for our expert speakers that are here with us today. Natasha will be jumping on in just a minute, but I'll go to Ms. Tiffany Murphy. She is the campus and the apprenticeship director at ACI Learning, and ACI just recently registered 2 apprenticeships with the state of Florida. Tiffany, you want to say hi?
Hello, Doreen. Thank you for having us on. We are very excited to be a part of this apprenticeship program, and CareerSource has really helped us out along that way. So look forward to chatting with you all.
Great, thank you. And we have Mr. Marcus Francisco, who himself was an apprentice back in the day at Disney. And now he's leading an apprenticeship program for Metro Power in Jacksonville. So can you say hi, Marcus?
Hey, everybody, how's it going? Just glad to be here. Thank you for CareerSource of Northeast Florida for hosting this. And if you have apprentices or anybody who you know who's an apprentice, just show some appreciation. It's a great week this week.
Yeah, that's right. Do we have Natasha yet? Yeah. Okay. We will speak with Natasha soon, but she is a leader at the state, and that is why she is late. There is a state apprenticeship meeting going on right now, and it's just lasting longer than we expected. But she has a really amazing background, and she also has worked at Disney at one time, but executive director of the independent electrical contractors. So she's working for all throughout Florida, trying to recruit different employers to increase apprenticeship. She's the president of the Florida Apprenticeship Association, board of directors for the Florida Association of CTE Education, and appointed by Governor DeSantis to the State Apprenticeship Advisory Council, which is where she is right now. So she will be joining us in just a few minutes. So we're all very happy that you chose to spend some time with us today and learn more about these programs. So just like I mentioned, you can just put info in the chat or a question, and then we will get started. Overall, apprenticeships are considered a workforce solution. I consider it a solution. I think that job seekers have concerns and employers have concerns, and apprenticeships have shown to increase recruitment, retention, the quality of your work and the production, as well as diversity. So as employers have concerns or issues with talent, this is a possible solution for you to change maybe the way that your workforce is working. Let's see here. Is this what comes to mind when you think of the word apprenticeship? I know a lot of people, we still have this old idea of, you know, this mentor or a master passing down information, and maybe it's dark and dingy, kind of like it is here. And yes, that is still true. The mentorship aspect is a very integral part of apprenticeship, but these are the apprenticeships of today. We've been doing skilled trades for decades, and they've noticed how great the model works. And so we have now expanded it into non-traditional fields. Starting approximately 2008, this has now been like a highlight, actually, the Department of Labor. They're really trying to promote this model, and the state of Florida as well. Okay. So what is an apprenticeship? I assume Natasha's not on. She was going to speak about that, and I'll keep going. So apprenticeship is a earn as you learn model. And I think this is really one of the best ideas behind it. I used to work as a advisor at a state college, and I would have people come in all the time trying to change careers, but they really didn't have the time to leave the workforce and then go back to school. It's very hard when you have bills and you have children or whatever. So the Earn as You Learn program is really the highlight behind it. The apprentice works with a mentor, so you're gaining a new relationship. You always hear that people leave a manager, they don't leave a job. So as these mentors work closely with apprentices, they're building a good relationship, and it tends to keep retention as well. The apprentices are gaining certifications and learning without any college debt. The employer is the one who is deciding on what should be learned. There is a certification associated with it, and that is all paid by the employer. So people have the ability to learn, continue to grow, get certified in a field, and they have not had to spend the time and the money to go back to school. It's available in all new industries. We're spreading it. There's over 1,200 occupations now that are registered apprenticeships. And this picture here of Apprentice Florida, this is a program that is here in our state. It combines the Department of the DOE, the Department of Education, the Department of Economic Opportunity, and CareerSource Florida. So it's the whole state of Florida. And we join together and partner our agencies to promote the idea of apprenticeship. Registered apprenticeship, you may have heard this term before. Basically, this is taking a earn as you learn or really strong training program and physically registering it with the state or the Department of Labor. So there are going to be employers out there, and they're great employers who have strong training programs, and we really celebrate that. I definitely promote those kinds of programs to job seekers, the earn as you learn idea. But some of them are taking it to the next step or the next level and being a best practices program. And that is registering their program with the state of Florida's Department of Education, because it is education. So we write up some standards, that's what they call it. It's your plan of what are you planning to do. And we submit it to the state for approval. And a registered program has to have these criteria: at least 1 to 5 years of full-time work. So it's at least 2,000 hours of full-time work on the job training. There's also going to be supplemental instruction, and that could be learning out of a book. It could be in a classroom. It could be online. But this is the educational aspect of it. Like you would get going in college. This is the, there's the hands-on part, and then there's the classroom type part. So there's additional work that's to be done in the classroom. And that can be done at your workplace. When I say classroom, it doesn't have to be at a college or anything. It could be in your facility. There's going to be structured pay increases along the way. And the great thing about this is we all know we work somewhere and we have to wait an entire year before we find out if we were doing a good job or a bad job, or what is my pay going to be? Am I going to get a raise? The great thing about apprenticeship is it is predetermined. We know what that pay will be. If I am an apprentice and I do what I'm supposed to, and a certain amount of time has gone by or a certain amount of criteria that I've learned, I then know my pay will go up to this number. And the same thing happens again. So along the way, there will be pay increases that the apprentice knows. If I stay, do a good job, I accomplish these things, I will get this new pay raise. They end the program with a national credential. Many of them have a credentialing along the way, but the state of Florida also provides that credential. And it is like a degree. It is transferable. So if they need to leave their employer at some point and go somewhere else, even nationally, That is certifying that this person is fully capable and certified in that occupation. And the last one there says job at sponsor company. That's really should maybe be the first one on there. When you are hiring an apprentice, it's their job. This is not it's not an internship, it's their job. And with you, they're starting all of their benefits from day one. They are accumulating vacation days from day one. So you need to, in your mind, know that this is a full-time employee, even if, or part-time, whatever your normal benefits would be for a regular employee. Just because they're labeled an apprentice, it is still a actual job with you. I heard that Natasha came on, so I'm glad you're back. Would you like to mention anything about what is an apprenticeship, or basically the registered apprenticeship model? Is you ready? Okay, we're going to keep going. Okay. Here's some information about the expansion of apprenticeship. Apprenticeships, as I mentioned, they're not contract positions, they're not interns, they're actual employees. We keep expanding them into new fields. There are over 1,200 different occupations here in Florida. We were at 99 different occupations about a month ago. Maybe by now it's 100. But here, even just in Northeast Florida, we have at least all of these: healthcare, manufacturing, energy, info, tech, business. So even in our small area of Florida, there is a wide range of what's going on in the apprenticeship fields. And so you might be concerned, curious who else is using apprenticeships. A lot of huge companies who see the value in passing down that information, working closely with a mentor, and then of course local companies as well, and it just keeps growing. Associations are jumping on the bandwagon. Training providers are becoming sponsors, so it's very exciting. The model is really just kind of snowballing. So when you're considering, does this fit, the concerns that we might have at our industry, is this a good fit for us? You want to think about what are your concerns, or what are the issues that you have at your business. So it could be retention. A lot of people have that as an issue. We know that about 30% of a person's salary is what you're losing every time somebody leaves. So it's an expense when somebody leaves. So to try to solve that retention, apprenticeship has been shown to be very productive in that way. They've measured it at 93% of apprentices who complete stay with the company at least another year. So it has a really good retention, and that's for several reasons. One I mentioned is about the relationship that they build with other apprentices and with their mentor. Some of it has to do with the fact that they're just loyal because they see that you invested in them. So knowing that someone trained you and invested in you makes somebody want to stay. And as I mentioned, they don't leave a job, they leave a manager. So ensuring that your mentor is a good role model and someone who actually wants to do that training, that'll definitely help as well. If your concerns are diversity, this is definitely a model that's going to help with that. If you think to yourself, do we really need somebody with a bachelor's degree, if that's what you used as a criteria in the past? Sometimes you don't actually need a bachelor's degree, and you can do that training in-house. So if you eliminate that criteria, it opens your pool of applicants by 70%. So now you have this much more huge, diverse group of people that you can choose from. And they've been expanded into so many different industries that we can now bring in people from everywhere. And so the diversity is definitely something that grows when you use apprenticeship. Another issue might be quality assurance or productivity. Sometimes you're getting people out of school and they've learned to do something one way, and now they come to your business and you know, you need to retrain them basically. Knowing that you have trained them from the beginning, it is specialized to you, as each employer is individualized. Every program is specific. So it's geared towards your company. You have all of those checks in the boxes to ensure that they know exactly how your processes go. So you're very comfortable knowing that they are fully trained on each of your processes, which definitely increases that quality assurance. Hi, Natasha. Lost knowledge. If you have people retiring, if that's an issue, maybe people are 50, 55. We keep hearing of people leaving the workforce earlier retirements. You want somebody to be able to pass down that information, or else it's lost. A lot of times that information is not in your orientation guide or your handbook. This is things that people have accumulated over the course of years being at your company, and you want to ensure that that information is getting passed down. And lastly, recruitment. I know a lot of people having issues with recruitment. It's hard right now to find skilled labor and skilled workers. So this is your opportunity to grow your own skilled workforce from within. So also branding, you know, making sure that if you are a registered program, you're going to be highlighted. People know that yours is a quality program. It's being reviewed by the state. Someone is coming to check every year to ensure that it's still in process. How is it going? So it does brand you as a quality program. Okay. Employer benefits and apprentice benefits. So Marcus, as a employer and as a previous apprentice, can you talk about these?
Yeah, actually, there's lots of benefits with having an apprenticeship, and honestly being an apprentice, and then being the person who mentors the apprentice, if you will. So a lot of this has kind of been touched on, but just diving into a little bit. So return on investment is $1.50 for every $1 invested. So since you're, you know, grooming your own people from the beginning, you know, they're going to be more productive as the work progresses throughout the years. So they're going to generate a little bit more money for you over the time. Employers develop their future workforce. So bringing them in from the very beginning, like we bring in at our company, we bring in students right after, or not students, but like apprentices right after high school, or we bring them in when they're younger, or we can bring them in at any age. Honestly, someone who's wanting to start a career with us, they can do that. So we can bring them in, we can show them the ropes from the very beginning, so we know exactly what we teach them, exactly what we want them to know for them to be successful at their job. So for me, when you invest in somebody, you retain them for longer. So when a company is willing to invest in me, hence why I'm with this company now, they want to invest in me. I think it breeds loyalty. You know, you want to stay with them longer. You can see the future. You can see where you're going to go from there, and you can set a plan for yourself and with your leaders. So less cost for attrition. So if you keep people for longer, you won't have to worry about investing in the new people who come in, because you know, when you bring in new people, there's more cost for benefits. There's more cost for hiring them, for all the tests that you need to do to bring them in. So there's less cost associated with that. A pipeline of more diverse applicants. So with us, you know, branching out, I think that's one of my favorite things to do, is get out of the office, go to the schools, go to the colleges, go to different places. Is colleges be for interns mainly, but like go to the schools, go out into the community, hit those career fairs, those community events, and just connect with people. You know, you create that talent pipeline of those diverse applicants from different walks of life. You know, we could get somebody that's outside of Jacksonville by, like, you know, 45 minutes, 50 minutes outside of Jacksonville, and you know, it's just somebody that's kind of unexplored, an area that's kind of unexplored, and we bring them up to this area. So there's a ton of talent that's out there, just needs to be found. Improve productivity. So when you train those people from the beginning exactly what you need to know, then they're going to be more productive out in the field. Possibility of state funds for training. This is where CareerSource comes in. So, so kind of throwing you guys in there. We've been working with them for about a couple of years now, and CareerSource in Northeast Florida. Honestly, I've looked at CareerSource from the different parts of Florida, but Northeast Florida probably has the easiest process. So funding is also given towards the, you know, from the state or from the government to aid like programs like what we have. So yes, the company has to eat the cost of that, but there is help. So that's where CareerSource of Northeast Florida can help us with some of that. So we don't have to eat the complete cost of everything. So the apprentice doesn't have to give anything. They don't have to pay for anything. That's what's great is it's a free apprenticeship. It's free learning. So, you know, the company pays for that, but there is help out there. And that's where CareerSource of Northeast Florida has been helpful. So improve culture through mentorship. So when you partner with people out in the field, so for us, it'd be electrical journeymen. You know, when they partner with them out in the field, you have this apprentice who doesn't know anything, who's working with somebody. So they have that person who's showing them the ropes, showing them what they need to know. Then they can go into the classroom, which, you know, shout out to Natasha. We work with the IEC of Florida West Coast chapter. So we partner with them. So they go into class. Great for us in Jacksonville here. We teach our classes right out of our office. So we use the IEC curriculum in our office here and we teach it. Whereas some of our other branches, we might be connecting with some technical colleges to use their electrical program, which is very beneficial as well. So, but I'll get to that in a second. So I think it's just working with somebody who's been doing it for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. They're going to show you things that you might not see from someone else. But getting a different mentor is awesome. You don't have to have that label as a mentor to be an actual mentor. Continuing on, ability to advance career without new college debt. One thing that if you get in with the right company and, you know, if you invest as a company, if you invest in your employees, you should be able to keep them for longer. So one thing that we might do if someone wants to go to college after they complete their apprenticeship, we do tuition reimbursement. That could be something you can offer for them to continue on so they can stay with you. You help them to learn what they need to do, learn to progress into your company a little bit further. But also too, they don't have college debt from having to go to a college to learn that, because once again, the company is paying for the apprenticeship. Establish career path as skills increase. So as they learn these new skills, they realize that, hey, I think I want to do X, Y, Z. I want to, like for us, want to be a project manager, or they want to branch out and be an engineer, or an estimator, I don't know, but we can help them get to that point. So there's different defined career paths for what they want to do for the future, and we can help them get there. Back to on-the-job training with a mentor. Once again, going back out in the field and being with that person to show you those hands-on skills that you'll need to learn, or those hard skills, if you will. And once again, employer being invested in you. When someone wants to invest in me to keep me around, I don't see a reason to leave. I worked for Disney for a long time, and then there was a way for us to keep moving through different places to learn new skills, and then that just makes you want to stay around a lot longer. So if you are new, if you're just coming out of school and you want to start a career and you just want to try it, you can do that. You can go to school, you can get your education, then you can, if you will, have something to fall back on. I don't like saying that term, but some people use that as a reasoning. But some people might get later down in their career path or in their life and figure out that they want to change a career. So they maybe will say, hey, well, there's an apprenticeship out there. This company's going to invest in me. They want to teach me this specific skill, and they're going to send me to school for it. So I want to change my career. I want to go that path, that nationally recognized credential. So you can become a journeyman with us with the electrical field. So if you have this and all of a sudden your family decides to move to a completely different state, you have that nationally recognized credential, which will help you find that job in that career field a little bit easier. Full-time position with scheduled pay increases. The pay increases is a huge talking point with schools that we visit. There, how much do you make? How much do you make? Well, as you mentioned before, Doreen, is that there's that structure that's already in place. You're not waiting for somebody to negotiate your contract. Then with us, it's a merit shop. So you have those scheduled increases as well. But then if you're going above and beyond, which should inspire you to do more work, you're going above and beyond in your job, then you could potentially get paid more, which is always great. Full-time position, which you're already going to get that when you come in. So as an apprentice, you should be getting that full-time hours. That's part of your part of the standards of apprenticeship. You get that full-time job, so they should not be coming in part-time doing this apprenticeship, at least with us. And then, of course, potential for college credit. So the colleges that we partner with, the technical colleges, we still actually have them register for school. They still have to register for college, and they attend classes in their electrical program, and they're getting a certificate or a diploma from that college through that program, and they can use those credits towards other degrees if they want to. So some of those will transfer over. Same thing with different programs that you might use. Maybe the IEC, you have a certain class or a certain credit or a course that you took that could transfer over if you decide to go back to school or go to college at another time.
Awesome, great. Thank you, Mark. This is just a simple chart to give you an idea as an employer where this might sound like it's a lot of extra money. You're actually saving some money. This would be where you would start a person who is fully trained. What you would typically maybe look for someone as a skilled employee, but you're hiring them down here. They're coming in as an apprentice. They don't have the skills. So you are expecting a lower salary. And as time goes on, maybe they increase their skills, the salary increases, as we mentioned, until they're at the wage of a fully trained employee. And so the orange is considered the wage savings. In addition, as I mentioned, CareerSource might be able to assist you with some of that funding. So again, we're trying to help upskill the community that might be helpful to you as an employer who's trying to upskill and train. So what makes a good employer candidate, if you're thinking this might be a good fit for you, an apprentice candidate? Tiffany, can you talk about that?
Yes, thanks, Doreen. Yes, so ACI Learning, we are rather new to the apprenticeship side, and we do things a little bit different as we are screening applicants for employers, but employers are also coming off of our apprenticeship program. So we're the sponsor. We have employers around Jacksonville, and that is where our apprentices go to work and to become a journeyman. So when we speak to employers who are wanting to be involved in our apprenticeship program, one of the main things that you'll see a lot of them have is a true concern for training and retaining a skilled workforce. Retention seems to be a problem in all fields right now, and also just filling the entry-level roles, and two, for them that are going to keep rising up in your company as others leave. So that is probably one of the main concerns that I've heard from employers and what makes them a good fit for the program. Looking for long-term solutions, not short-term labor needs. This is a career for these apprentices, and we interview our apprentices first before they come to our employers. And that is one of the main things that we're going to look for is this a career for them? Is this a career that they are wanting to go into, and they are going to go into the workforce every day and learn and take full advantage of all the perks of an employer that's taking a chance on them and giving them the skills necessary to have a fulfilling career. Another good point on here is a high number of retiring senior employees. As Doreen mentioned earlier, people are retiring earlier and earlier. And so we want to make sure we're setting our company up for success with that we have employees that are in place that will be able to retain and know the knowledge that those employees had and can continue growing off of that. So this is not primarily for seeking funding or grants, but more for a company that has a strategic vision plan for sustaining the program. One of the program prerequisites, I guess you could say, is a mentor. So you're bringing in apprentices, kind of putting them under the mentor's wing, and you are developing your ACE employee. You are being able to train them to be exactly what you want your number one employee to look like. And that's a really great benefit, because when you think about when you interview someone, you don't really know everything you're getting from them, or if the skills that they say they have, or anything in that nature that you're learning inside an interview, you don't know. You're taking a chance. Well, now you get to develop that employee. You get to take them from where they don't have bad practices that they've learned from another company, anything like that. You are taking an employee and you are working with them and you are developing them and developing a career for them, which is great on all parts. All right, so a good potential apprentice. So when we speak to our apprentices here, or those that apply to become an apprentice, we are making sure that they're not looking for just a job. That is the complete opposite of what this program is. We want them to be looking for a career pathway, one that they are so eager to get into and learn and come in and really make an impact at your company within the first year. Good work ethic and understands apprenticeship process. So another unique thing about ACI Learning is we already have them for 10 weeks in class. So they are going through and getting different certifications through our programs. So different CompTIA certifications because we focus more on the infrastructure side of IT. And so our students are looking for those IT roles and to begin that part of their career. So we have a good idea of work ethic. Are they coming in and into class and eager to learn, understanding the apprenticeship process, of breaking that down for them and being transparent and all the steps of an apprenticeship. You're starting at an apprenticeship wage, and then you're going to go to the 6-month wage, and then the journeyman wage. So kind of walking them through that really helps them understand what benchmarks they're trying to get to. And that's something they need to understand to make sure that you are getting an employee that, or an apprentice that is going to stick around and be a great part of your company. So they value mentorship. I love this one because that is what an apprenticeship should be, or an apprentice should be doing every day at the job. Working with a mentor, taking it all in and being open for any kind of feedback. They should be wanting to grow. And most of the apprentices you see come in, they're hungry for it. So they absolutely love the mentorship they're getting. Next on here be the committed to the full apprenticeship time frame and pay schedule. This is the part that that I spoke about earlier. You have to break it down for them and kind of walk them through it. And you will see that whenever you tell them about after if it's 1 or 5 years, whatever your apprenticeship program is, that where they're going to be at that end level of the excitement that comes out of the applicants. They are so excited to get this new career and that someone is going to take a chance on them and set them up for success. And last on here, be willing to continue learning even after completing the program. That is something I think everyone should do. Never quit learning. Everybody should always be eager for more knowledge and to make yourself better at your job. And I think with apprentices, when they're coming in and they're already in that learning mode, they are really set up to keep that attitude going even after they are done with their apprenticeship program.
Great. Thank you so much, Tiffany. And I'm just going to piggyback on that for a moment about the continual learning. And a lot of companies have tuition reimbursement. So you don't have to think that because they're an apprentice and they started out as an apprentice, that's always going to be their role. They move up, they become a trainer, they become a mentor. Maybe a lot of companies will pay for them to go back to school. And for example, Miller Electric, I was just speaking with the senior vice president there. He started as an apprentice, but as time has gone on and he's used some tuition reimbursement, he's continued his education. So that's, definitely something that, like Tiffany mentioned, continuing to learn. We always just want to keep growing. Okay. These are just some helpful websites. ApprenticeFlorida.com, that has some good videos that you might use as a resource. Apprenticeship.gov, that's the national site, so it has a lot of really interesting information. There's also a job finder in there, so if you were to have an apprenticeship, you can post even nationally there, and you can look that up by zip code. The Florida Department of Education's site, that shows all of the registered apprenticeships. And here, our site, which is CareerSource NAFL.com, we have pages, one for apprentices or job seekers and one for employers. So you can see here registered apprenticeships, and here's a QR code. So there is information there about apprenticeship, and there is a contact form that if you fill it out, it comes to me, or please feel free just to directly contact me if you have questions about apprenticeship. And now we'd just like to hear from our experts. I'm going to start with Natasha. Thank you so much for coming. Can you tell us anything, because I know we might have missed some information, but in general, I told everyone that you were already at the state event, and that you're probably running long. So can you tell us what the state is talking about? Why is apprenticeship great? What is it that they're doing to encourage growth, all of that?
Yeah, definitely. And thanks for letting me come in a little late. I'm sorry. So I sit on the State Apprentice Advisory Council, and we actually had our meeting today. And we're doing so much that it ran a little bit over. Some of the things, just literally, I'm in the hall coming out of the meeting. We have 15,000 apprentices, a little over 15,000 apprentices in the state. And 1,900 of them graduated last year, completed their program, with about 12 or 1,300 actually completing on the scheduled time. So it's a really great accomplishment on that. And the average salary coming out of that is over $49,000 a year. So it's contributing right back into the economies. But what Florida is doing to support, especially employers who want to start an apprentice program, there's lots of different ways to do that. And that was one of the things that we really talked about today, whether it is through funding and things like the Pathways to Career grants. And those were just announced. Those are some amazing amounts of money, about $10 million per year that our governor has allocated towards creating or expanding pre-apprenticeship or apprenticeship programs. And those have just come out for those years. We'll actually be doing one in Jacksonville. We were just awarded one, I think 2 days ago, to work on them, as Marcus said, starting that program up there in Jacksonville. So we're excited, but it's not just for the people putting it on. There is also support if you as a company want to start your own apprenticeship programs. One of the things we were highlighting today was all the apprentice training representatives who are employees of the DOE, who will help you create the program that fits your company. So if it doesn't exist yet, it just means yet. It means you haven't come up with it. I mean, there's teacher apprenticeship programs in the works right now. And 10 years ago, 2 years ago, we probably didn't think about teacher apprenticeship programs, but everything from, Marcus and I kind of work in the construction world, where everybody kind of thinks of electrical and thinks of apprenticeships in that construction world, but apprenticeships are in IT and healthcare, teachers, nursery growers. And so if it's something where you want to be able to train people to work the way you want them to know, to pass down your knowledge, to retain your employees and to recruit your employees, the apprenticeship model is just a full circle, and you can kind of jump on wherever and start moving. So you can jump in on creating one. You could jump on with an association like Marcus has with us and jump in as a part of one. You could go to your CareerSource, go to Doreen and say, hey, I'm interested. She can either connect you with an already existing program, or connect you with an ATR and say, create your own. And those ATRs actually, I think they really enjoy it. They might say it's a lot of work, but we have 4 apprenticeships and we're creating another one because that is what our state needs to continue growing. But I have never seen a state so focused on workforce development and focusing on apprenticeship as I have seen in the past 2 or 3 years. So my suggestion would be try it. Talk to Doreen. You're more than welcome. I sit on the State Apprenticeship Advisory Council, so I am open for all kinds of comments and questions. But more importantly, maybe for some of you all, I'm president of Florida Apprenticeship Association. So my goal is to facilitate putting you in contact with people. I've helped 2 companies create their own apprenticeships in the last year just by connecting them. So I'm happy to do that as well. And there are really simple pathways to do that. So that's kind of a basic on it. And then whatever questions you have, shoot them my way.
Natasha, can you talk a bit also about the intermediaries, if you're familiar with that? Because I think that would help a lot of companies feel comfortable.
Right. So there are Department of Labor intermediaries federally that will also help in creating those couple different ways. One, creating support for you in creating your standards, but also supplying funding. So there's funding that will help you create the programs, whether it is expanding or creating them, everything from assisting with the curriculum writing to the expanding books to the recruiting to outreach. And so those come in different focuses, different areas, but so mine might be IT, one might be electrical, one might be transportation. Transportation was a big push that just came through Florida. So those intermediaries from federal level are there for employers to assist. And then in the statewide, there's the intermediaries really more work like an association. So like in my situation, I'm an association of contractors. So I don't employ, similar to kind of Tiffany, I don't employ them. I help them get employed by someone like Marcus. And then we do the RTI and do the education portion of it with them. So those are some of the different ones, depending on which way you want to go.
Thank you so much. Tiffany, can you talk about what your program does and what it was like to become a sponsor, maybe why you chose to do that or the steps it took to get registered?
Yes. So the apprenticeship model, I don't think we ever really thought IT fit into it, but the way our school has ran since we have been around is a really big emphasis on employment and how do we get our students the knowledge and skills in IT, but on the job. They're learning the books with us, but how are they getting that on the job training? And so as she was just talking about with the intermediaries, we were connected with one on a federal level who kind of brought this idea to us, and we were like, this is fantastic for our students. What a great way for them to get out and go after their passion in IT. And so we started working with them. They start helping us develop our standards and that we were able to bring to Florida. And to be honest, we weren't quite sure what to do in Florida, where to go, we were a little lost. So I was able to connect with Doreen, and Doreen was absolutely the most amazing help in this process. I still call her to ask questions and learn because I feel like it's constantly learning for us. And then she also put us in touch with Daisy, who helped us get our program approved. And we actually have a compliance representative that keeps track of everything. And so she just met with Daisy the other day to get everything into Rapids to teach us that and kind of how we report annually to the state of Florida. And so CareerSource and reaching out to them and with all the different partners in Florida, they really help guide you through it. And we are extremely thankful for it.
Great. Well, I'm glad it was helpful. Tiffany, so one thing I wanted to bring up is their apprenticeship is in IT and cybersecurity, but you don't have to be a cybersecurity company to utilize their apprenticeship or other similar types. You can be, anything really. Let's say you're a bank, you use computers. So if you need IT people who are skilled in that area, you can still do an apprenticeship for one of your departments. Go ahead, Tiffany, if you want to talk about that for a minute. Or
Yes, so banks are one that are very interested in the IT side of it and filling those gaps. Healthcare, they also have needed to fill their gaps in their IT openings. So IT is everywhere. So just about every company could probably use an IT person. So it's, where you have that need in your company. And also, as they brought up earlier, it's really expanding into a lot of different areas. So, if you're struggling with the HR side and need help filling those roles and fixing the retention there, an HR apprenticeship could be the fix for that. So just kind of keeping your mind open to all the different ways that this could work into different departments within your company would be my best advice.
great. Thank you. So I just put in the chat, I think it might have been there. If you're interested in IT apprenticeships or how that's working at ACI, there's some videos there. And I'll also put in something about human resources, like she mentioned, the SHRM Foundation, they have one. So there are other apprenticeships that might not be for your whole industry, but just maybe some specific departments. We're looking at one that's going to be business analyst or statistics. So again, you might have a need for that, for business intelligence. Okay, and Marcus, as a local employer or as an employer, what made Metro Power decide to use apprenticeships and what kind of benefits are you seeing?
I think you always have the shortage of skilled labor. So, instead of trying to go out looking for the skilled labor, which is very difficult to do, you bring the people to you. So you advertise something that's going to help them learn that skilled labor that you need to have out in the field. So, I think, Metro Power has been having apprenticeships or having apprentices since the mid-90s. So we, primarily a Georgia-based company. We do have offices in South Carolina and then all across North Florida. But we have apprentices almost every single branch within our company, and they're learning from different training centers. Whether it be in-house or through technical colleges. But IEC is a very big part of it that we use. So it's just a way for us to get to answer the demands of the needs of our company. So it's primarily workforce, obviously.
And Doreen, I would add on that, just in listening to what Marcus said and kind of what Tiffany had said earlier, is that apprenticeship can be for any company, whether it is one person. Apprenticeship doesn't mean they have to be all like Marcus is, it's all electricians all into
Right.
it. Marcus could send someone to Tiffany's program if they needed. They could still be a provider of apprenticeship as an employer by sending someone to a cybersecurity one, or they might send an HR person somewhere else. And so I think sometimes when I've talked to companies, employers get so locked into, I only can do one apprenticeship. You can do them in all places. And that's where someone like a CareerSource can help you. Because you can go say, I've got this great person. Maybe they've just been a receptionist, but I think they'd be a great HR person, and go find the ACI or the IEC or the whoever, who can train them to be that next level for you, so that it doesn't have to be all like your entire focus of your business. Apprenticeship is a way to grow your entire company, even through bits and pieces, maybe not all, all through an organization. Obviously I want Marcus to send me his electrician people, but he's obviously has computers too. I mean, construction is moving there. He might have cybersecurity people that he wants to send over to ACI. So I think it's important for employers to think kind of big picture, that this is a way to upskill and then refill. So you upskill someone, as we talk about, everybody's graduating, right? So, retiring. So as they retire out, and we know in the electrical industry, they retire faster than we can hire them. So as they retire out, you're filling in by training the people you already have, right? Because you've already invested in them. Then you bring those new people in and you build that investment in them. And if you just keep building it that way, then you have a much better fill than if you, like Marcus said, you're just trying to go find, I challenge him to go find a journeyman electrician somewhere that he can hire today, because they're already hired.
Yeah.
So the same thing probably with Tiffany. You're not going to go find a cybersecurity technician anywhere because they're already working. you're going to have to create them. So whatever your position, whether it's an HR or a cybersecurity, or it's your electrician and you're just a company, but you maybe that's not your main thing, but you need an electrician to make your company run. There's opportunities out there for you.
You know, one of the things I did, I used to teach high school, I used to teach HVAC at the high school level. I never just wanted people from HVAC companies to come in. I wanted people from different companies like Metro Power, or like, you know, I had a welding school that would come in, or I had, you know, auto mechanic college that would come in, or a college in general would come in. You know, I don't care. I wanted to provide options to the students. The students needed to know that they have a path. You know, they don't have to just sit at home. They don't just have to just settle. They can go, they can better themselves without having to fork over $50,000 to $100,000 a year.
Absolutely. And as Natasha was mentioning, as far as upskilling, you know, some employers are hiring new people to go into programs, and others are seeing people who maybe they notice have a great work ethic, but maybe they're in a field or an area like Flagler Health just took people from other areas, and they opened up a surgical technologist apprenticeship and opened it up to people in other areas of the hospital that they saw had good work ethic and they loved the hospital. And most of them had been there multiple years, almost up to 10 in some cases. And they moved into an apprenticeship. And this was like a way for them to improve their own career, but also just continue with that loyalty to the company.
And I know we mentioned it's not just a way to get funds for training, but I would,
Yes.
if you haven't mentioned, Doreen, you probably will, is there are funds through CareerSource to continue to do that on the job training to assist with that, so that you can maybe take the risk on either the new employee or the current already employee, the incumbent worker, to upskill them as well. So I would make sure to find out, you know, with Doreen, what those opportunities are, because it does give you that ability to take that risk, to try to do that training. She kind of showed the scale, but there's there's those funds that are kind of a return on your investment to help you invest if you're a little nervous.
Yes, absolutely. So we work with employers all the time, trying to assist financially, if we can, with their training program. It doesn't have to be an apprenticeship. So just in case that was a concern, we want to just upskill. And so we have funds for that, whether or not you're doing an apprenticeship or just a really great training opportunity. But there are funds from the state, like we mentioned briefly, the careers, pathway to careers opportunities. And that is an annual grant specifically for apprenticeship. And so that's another way that you might be able to expand your program or start a new program. Let's go to the questions. I know we're towards the end. Someone asks if there's one for medical fields. Right now, we have one in our location of Northeast Florida. It is with Flagler Health. It was the one I just mentioned, the surgical technologist, but there are multiple places, I believe, that you might be able to get a CNA or a patient care technician job where they might help pay for you to train. It's not an official apprenticeship in our area, but there's also home health aides. So if you wanted to reach out to me, we could try to find opportunities like that, but we're trying to grow more healthcare, definitely. Let's see, there was another question. Oh, okay, it's not really a question, just wanted to learn more. So how do we learn more about the Pathways grant? So that is something that usually comes up, and it has in the last like 4 and 5 years. So we assume it'll hopefully continue. It was over the summer. The applications were in July, so it kind of just ended. But the Florida Department of Education, it's through them, and in their website, there is a page. If I can, I might be able to send you the link that you can at least look at it from last year. Let's see here. Is it up there? So I'll just send you the link quick. This is just information about it that you can read, but this is something that they have various learning opportunities. Did it go? Did I get it to everybody? Sorry. I would suggest listening to their learning opportunities about it. If you were to apply again next year, let's say, and they offer questions and answers and training, take all of it, because a lot of it comes down to how well are you expressing your program. And we want to ensure that it's a really good quality program. So your application is pretty important.
I'll say the time frame is pretty similar. So if you look at the time frame on there, and I will say, yeah, listen, watch the videos. You can actually even go in and find some former Pathway to Career grants that were awarded. I've gotten a little bit better at it every year. It is a competition. It is a points-based program. So it is based off of, how much money you're asking and what are you doing with it? Think about wraparound services. Think about things like tutoring and childcare and transportation, as well as the education parts. And I'm happy to assist with those. We got our largest, we got 4 this year. So we will be hopefully doing a lot of expanding. But also just stay that page that she sent you back, go to it and then back out a little bit, because there are always some random grants that they will just put out there every now and then. So there'll be if Florida Association Career Technical Education will do a mini grant through the DOE, or they'll do a expanding registered apprenticeship just poof out of the blue. So every now and then, just put it on your Outlook to go check every now and then, because and it's not. I will say what's really nice about the state grants is they are not like some of the ones that you would see nationally, where you have to write all flowing, beautiful language. These are Excel files where you are giving them hard facts and figures. You are going to have to use Doreen and some CareerSource Northeast Florida. They want to know what the need is in your area. CareerSource is a website great for that information. So you do want to, kind of check on those, but great opportunity there for y'all.
Great, thank you. I'm going to have Carol Cullen from CareerSource Northeast Florida pop on for a moment. She can talk briefly about some opportunities funding wise that we offer, whether or not it's a training or apprenticeship. She did put in the chat the link for the information on that, but do you want to say something, Carol?
Yes, I feel like it was just my head there, so let me adjust my camera. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Yeah, hi. Doreen and I and the rest of the industry managers. So I'm Carol Cullen, I'm the healthcare sector manager. And we also have managers in other sectors. And even if your sector is not one of our, quote, highest growth areas, we also help any employers and would love to talk with you. So Doreen is the face of the apprenticeship world, but myself and my 3 colleagues, we are the face of the money. So when you want to talk about money, you're going to talk with me or Robin or Brian or Sean. And a great way to get started, if you are interested in understanding more about our funding programs, is to fill out the form that I just put the link in. So if you can see it there. It's CareerSourceNortheastFlorida.com/employee training. And we do not train, but we are the funding program. So it's funding for training, like Doreen has mentioned. You may already have some training programs that you want to do, but they're not actually apprenticeships. So we would be happy to talk with you about that. There are 2 funding programs right now. I'm not going to get into all of them, but they are reimbursement funding. So there's an application, there's very specific things that we need, and would love to talk with you about that once I want to talk about the money part. Thank you, Doreen. I'm happy to take some questions if anyone has it. I know you're coming close to time.
Yeah. Well, if anyone wants to either reach out to Carol. Carol, do you want to put your email in the chat? And I know we have everyone's email, so we will be sending this information out again. Let me see, do I have my, yes, here's our contact information, and then Carol will put her email in there as well. If you have additional questions, we'd love to speak with you. And we really appreciate you all coming today.
And Doreen, I just want to say they can contact me, but if they go through the form, we'll get them to the right manager. So
Perfect.
If you're healthcare, contact me. If you're other industries, you're welcome to contact me either way, but the form will get you right to the right person. Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you to everyone who was here, Tiffany, Marcus, and Natasha. Really appreciate your time. And just please feel free to reach out, and yay, Apprenticeship Week. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Doreen, for doing this. This was awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Marcus.